So today we've got Dr. Kevin Dapaah. I'm excited about this episode today because Dr. Dapaah, his Instagram page is like your favorite TV channel. You could spend hours on that page, and you can see that his patients love him, that he's got an enthusiasm about him for dentistry. He makes dentistry fun. You know, if I was in his area, I'd be signing up for Dove Dental for my dental care. So I'm really excited for today's episode. He's a principal dentist. He owns the practice at Dove Dental. He's going to tell us about that later on. He graduated from Peninsula, I believe, and he was part of the BDA committee when he was newly qualified. He's been doing a lot. He goes on different courses. He's one of the networking kings. He knows somebody and everybody. So there's going to be a lot that we can all learn from his story. And I just want to start by us finding out how he got into dentistry, why he got into dentistry. So, Dr. Kevin, thank you for this. And we just want to know, what made you decide to become a dentist?
Thank you very much, bro. First of all, I want to thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to come on here. I know Dr. Ruth was here before, so she'll be a hard act to follow. But yeah, I really, really appreciate you just having me on here to be able to share my story and just somehow inspire, encourage, or just kind of help anybody that's out there, really, because we know it's not easy. We know it's challenging, but the most important thing that is possible. That's the thing, it's possible. So I'm going to be ready for everything you throw at me, and I'm ready to help as much as I can. So,
fantastic.
So yeah, bro. Yeah.
So when did dentistry become a career option for you? When did that even come into your mind that you could be a dentist? How did that happen?
So the crazy thing is that, like in every African home, every African family, there has to be a doctor somewhere, So I always kind of had in my mind to do medicine initially. And I think it was one of these television programs where you got, I think, that German guy that does that, has the anatomy. He talks anatomy, has like a dead or a cadaver on the table, and he's talking all through the human body. And I was sort of thinking, whoa! And you come across these programs like these ER and all these and you kind of see what they do. So as you're growing up, you're kind of seeing these things. You think, I want to be able to help. And I did have a natural affinity to the sciences in school. I kind of up until sixth form college, I really wanted to do medicine. I was kind of stuck in medicine. It was in London, yeah. Sorry, so guys, I'm from London, South London, Croydon, to be exact. So that's where I'm from. Yeah. And even before then, what a lot of people don't know is that growing up in that area, I went through quite a lot of trouble. Okay. Got involved with the wrong people, all of that kind of stuff. And it was through my faith that my life turned around. As even I'm speaking, I've got friends that are even in prison, friends that have even passed away because of what's taking place on the streets. So coming up from that era, I used to be in a gang, actually.
Okay.
And or crew, whatever you call it, and just doing your thing, just growing up in the area, having issues with other gangs in the area, stuff like that. And things got really tricky. There were a few hospital visits and stuff like that. As a result of being involved in that lifestyle. But there was one particular day where I actually got beaten up by about 30 guys.
Wow.
On the streets. And after that happened, you know, you either said that you're going to seek retribution and get them back, or are you going to kind of change your life around? And that was a big fork in the road, because I was like, you know, how am I going to switch or change things around? Like, because all I know up to that point was my friends who were fellow members of what we were doing. Billiards, that's all I knew. That's the life I knew. I used to be a DJ as well, going on the set. A lot of people knew me in the area. And but after, so it was the summer of leaving year 11. But the thing is, because my mum kind of drummed in, you know, about, you know, school, education, no matter what's happening on the streets, I always did my homework. I always worked hard. Always, you know, so, you know, to give you an idea, the school I went to, we all got kicked out. Everybody got put on early study leave, meaning the whole year was kicked out because of the craziness that was happening.
That's possible. A whole year.
The whole year was put early study leave. Crazy. And it got quite crazy for me, because being from Croydon around that area, I thought I had to take alternative routes home. You know, I couldn't always go the same route because of, you know, you're thinking that the people that, you know, you have problems with are going to come and harm you or whatever. So I came from, that's the kind of environment I came from. But education was always the key for me. And I was one of the few that got into a sixth form anyway. The sixth form, which was quite the well-to-do sixth forms in the area. So I managed to get a place there. But up until then, I had in my mind I wanted to do medicine. And just before so around that time, I wanted to do medicine, but I knew I had to change my life around, but I didn't know how. And I came across another student who became a friend, who became my brother, who then shared his faith with me. And his faith in, it was Christianity, his faith in God really inspired me. And that was the catalyst that changed my life around to set across a new direction.
Okay. So on paper, you know, somebody might be looking and saying, there's no chance that this guy is going to ever be something like a dentist or a doctor. Like, what made you still believe that you could do that?
It's crazy, because I'll fast forward a bit, and I'll actually talk about along my journey. I'll actually tell you about my headmaster at the time who told me not to do it. I'll actually go through that. So, but I don't want to miss. I don't want to kind of jump the hoops. But so just kind of saying, because I had a natural leaning to the sciences. I thought, oh, okay, I can do it. And because of the cultural thing, you know, your family, and because of what I'd seen growing up in terms of like medicine being quite cool, I thought, okay, let me go and do it. But what happened was that I then went on work experience. When I went on work experience, I spoke to a doctor, and the doctor, he come from Sri Lanka, I believe, and he was in his late 30s, early 40s, and he had a family. And then looking back now, he's trained to be a consultant. But what I thought at that time was that, you know, you do your primary medical degree and that's it, like any other degree. But he's like, no, you've got a long training path to go through. And I was thinking, how are you juggling, you know, family life? How are you still doing exams? He says he's doing operations where, you know, he still has to kind of be accountable. He doesn't have the freedom or the autonomy at that stage he was at. Thinking, whoa, like, you know, what's going on? And he then told me, Kevin, if I was to start my life again, I'll choose dentistry. I'm like, oh, for real? Like, he said, yeah. I thought, because I had not considered it. I promise you, I had not considered it. So I thought, okay, cool. So I then spoke to my GP about it, because I was very close to my family GP, which had the work experience. And he said, okay, Kev, he kind of connected me to a local dentist. So I went there for about a week or so, and I was amazed. I was amazed that, you know, he was able to use his skills to put smile on faces, and that's not a pun. But honestly, he was able to, and I remember the one particular patient that came who had, from what I can remember, a tooth had broken, and he was going to a wedding on the weekend, and he wanted a quick fix just to tidy. And within 20 minutes, the dentist then the dentist then did what he needed to do. So now thinking about it now, probably put a composite restoration there, or composite filling, or white filling for those who don't know. Yeah. And the patient's face at the end of it was just like amazed. And for that for me was like, well, in a matter of minutes, he was able to use his knowledge, his skills to literally help a patient out, because of something that they were so worried, so concerned about. I was able to change it around a matter of minutes, and that for me was the key selling point, you know.
So and you weren't actually considering dentistry at all. It's just that you happened to meet this Sri Lankan doctor who just said dentistry, and then you pursued that to see what it's about.
Yeah. So, and then you have these career books. And I went to the library and kind of read about dentistry, and then I thought, you know what? And I knew that, okay, and the good thing for me is that I think at that point as well, I always wanted to kind of have the autonomy. That thing. I wanted to be able to do what I need to do without not answering to anybody, but be able to, make my own decisions. Yeah. And one thing dentistry I saw with that was that, yes, you do a primary degree, and yes, you can do courses after, but is that your own leisure? It's because you want to go in a particular area, and you can do it as you want. Yeah. Where, it wasn't the same for me with our medical counterparts. And also the ability to which we'll talk about later, the ability to also run your own business or practice. Yeah. That was also that appealed to me, because I know if I worked hard for 4 or 5 years, to throw everything at it, get my dental degree under my belt, and I can kind of carve my own future or create my own future for what those elements, and they're able to kind of not surgery as the medics would do, but they're able to work with your hands, use the skills of your hands, you're able to do what you need to do for your patients. That stood out for me. And all those points said, you know what, that's the right direction. So that doctor from it's in Kent, it's the Medway in Kent. Okay. He really was the catalyst.
Okay, so really, the motivation was there, tick. The commitment was there, tick. The awareness was there, tick. Were the grades there? Were the academics?
Great, good point. So all of a sudden, I had to do work experience. I had to do these community stuff. I got to do volunteering, all that kind of stuff. I had to do all of that. But the grades, when I was actually applying, it was my headmaster at the time that said to me, Kev, are you sure you want to do this? I don't think, you're cut out for this, and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't allow that to discourage me. It did discourage me at the time, because he was the person that was writing my reference. And for him to not have that faith in me, that was a big blow. But it wasn't big enough for me not to continue going. Yeah. But at the time, I know the grades are high enough. By the time the entrance requirements were 2 A's and a B, or 3 A's grade, but I think 2 A's and a B. And I think at some units you could have got away with it A, B, B. But I think I was predicted 2 A's and a B. But in my application, I didn't get an interview. Okay. Didn't get an interview. So it was really the dark time, and then Queen Mary, which I applied to for the dental school, they then wrote to me and said they've got a new course called dental materials. And at the time, I wasn't too keen. I wanted to say, okay, I wanted to see if I was to do well in my A-levels at the time, then I'll reapply next year. But being from the home I'm from, university, you're going to uni,
Did you ever find out the reason why you didn't get an interview at the other universities? Or if not, what do you think it was?
Good question. I didn't find that, but I think that my application probably wasn't good enough.
Okay. In what way?
I think the key thing to when you're applying is organization, because you got your A levels, you got your extracurricular stuff, you got to do your work experience, you got to find it, all of that stuff. You're trying to build it, but you got to kind of display it or almost market yourself in a way where you become appealing to the people reading.
Okay.
I didn't have enough people to kind of watch or look over my application to kind of go through it. I did have some people, but it was, and I think looking back, it could have been greater. It could have been better. That's what I think. I think my grade predictions, I think I was predicted 2 A's and a B. Okay, we're okay. But yes, and also what I didn't say also was that I also, my GCSE, my English literature, I got a B, but my English language, I got a D. I don't know, or E. I don't know how I did that. I could have got a D. I think so. So I had to retake that as well during my first year A levels. So that also didn't look too great as well. But going through my A levels, I went through some difficult times in my second year A level, and what was crazy is that I failed all my final units. I all got U's in my final. I promise you, my final units. I promise you, I failed them. And because in my AS level, because those times it was AS A2, in my AS level, because I got high grades, some A's, some B's in some units, it balanced it out to make it 2 C's and a D. But I literally failed all my final units. So at that point, when I received my results, I thought my life was over.
What happened? How did you go from getting good grades in AS to A2, things going the other way?
Yeah, it was on family issues that took place at home. And that really affected me studying at home and affected my confidence in the exam.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to perform.
All right. So this is bad, but it's good because you've made it now, and it means that somebody who feels like it's over, there's some hope. So okay, let's carry on.
So yeah, I tell you honestly, I thought how, like, I know I struggled, but to see literally all you, I said wow. And the echoing from my head tutor, or that his words echoed, and it was like, what am I gonna do? And it was crazy because my dental materials degree, the entrance criteria was three B's. So I thought, I'm gonna get that, no problem. But to get CED, I thought, I have to now appeal to the course where I thought I can literally walk over and say, look, I need a place. What happened, because these universities, they kind of get the results as well.
Yeah.
So they had already put me on the foundation degree. Imagine. So I tell you, I was in tears. I thought my life was over. I was ringing the university, and they were going to put me on the foundation degree. And if I pass the foundation year, then I go on to the actual 3-year course. Yeah. So my route to dentistry then became even longer. But then, after speaking to them, begging them, praying, crying, all the rest of it, they said, okay, Kev, you know what? We'll put you onto the course.
Okay.
So went and did the course, dental materials at Queen Mary, and it was challenging. The first year I did well. I got 2-1 in the first year. The second year, I had challenges again. Second year, I think I've got averaged, 48, 49%.
Okay.
So once again, it was looking very bleak. And I'd failed 3 exams or 3 units So it was looking terrible for me once again. And I thought, man, in this course, it's not going to be a walkover, but for this course, I thought I'll get in, and then I can reapply and all that, but it was looking tricky at that point. So in the third year, I had to really pull it out of the bag. I had to make sure my dissertation was good. I had to make sure, I had to retake my units.
Yeah.
And but then something happened again in the final year. So final year exams went well, but mind you, I had to restudy for the ones that I'd failed in my second year.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And first of all, in my exam period, I actually got sinusitis, which I didn't know what it was at the time. So I went to my doctor and I said, look, I've got, a headache, I'm bunked up, I've got, this not coming. It's like, I'll just, and she goes, doctor goes, oh my gosh, how are you studying under this condition? She just wrote a letter for me.
Yeah.
And I was working on the, so I went through a lot of challenges. And it was in my final year now, what happened was that was my dissertation.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? I didn't finish my dissertation on time.
You didn't finish it on time?
Because I underestimated the the references. I left it all to the final year project. I actually remember, I think, crazy. I remember, this is a funny story. So I remember they were doing police checks at the station, Mile End Station, and they were searching me. And my final year project, I was working on elephant denting or elephant teeth.
Yeah.
And I was a project around that. So they searched me and then they said, what's this? And I fought so hard to get, you got to get, I think the guy at the top, they did ethical approval, all of these things for it to finally go through. And to get all of that and to fight to get the elephant dentine or whatever. And they see in a little capsule, I've got these little white things. And I'm saying, and they're like, what's this? I'm like, look, I'm a dental material student. I go to Queen Mary. Look, these are my books. Like, I'm begging you, please. This is part of my project. It's nothing like, I said, if you take this away, my life is over. My life is over. So they checked this, they searched me, everything, find thing, and luckily they let me go. But yeah, so that was that. But yeah, so I was doing so I think I was doing the final checks. So when I was doing the final checks, I realized there were a lot of mistakes in it, yeah? Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, no, it's right now. Yeah, so I saw there was a lot of mistakes, a lot of, in it, so I had to kind of go through it and underestimate that process. But I remember when we went for the lecture on, starting dissertation, what they said, and I'll never forget what they said, that if you hand it in a day late, your mark gets cut by 50%.
Jeez.
So it was a Friday. I stayed up all night trying to finish it. I didn't finish it. And I thought my life was done. But what I did, I said, okay, I'm going to hand it on Monday. So I got a good friend who's going to London School of Economics, and they got a 24-hour library. So I went to that library and I was there from Friday to Sunday. I didn't go. I actually went and I bought a top.
Yeah.
And people were looking at me thinking, this guy's in the same place. Security guards, they you know what I mean? I was on somebody else's card. And they come and check at 12 o'clock, let me see your card. And I was like, yeah. Like, I was just someone else's card. And can you believe, when it got to Monday, I still didn't finish.
So did you hand it in with what you had?
On Tuesday, I handed it in. And that's why I know there's someone watching over me, honestly, because on the normal circumstances, my life would be over. So I submitted it, and when I got my grades back, I got a 2-1.
Okay.
And my application, which was how many other days late, I got 71%. I don't know how. But I got it. I couldn't believe it. So finally, I managed to get a place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even apply then because I'll go through so much. I thought, you know what? Let me just get through this course.
What do people do with dental material degrees if it's not dentistry? What do they do?
They work in the lab. They work for, I think you can work for 3M, those kind of companies. Okay. But because it's an engineering or material science degree, I've got colleagues that do a number of things. So I remember Barclays came and they wanted us to do stuff. They came to give like a presentation. So people work in stuff like that. So they don't just stick to material, but a lot of people work in engineering companies or finance institutions. That's what I've seen.
So what did you do, graduation, and then what was next for you?
So so now, because I didn't apply, I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do? So then I thought I'm going to work as a dental nurse.
Okay.
And my mom came and said, what the heck are you doing? Like, you're a graduate, you go to 1, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Why? And I had a big argument with her, justifying why I'm going to work as a trainee dental nurse and £7 an hour. So my friend, I worked dental nurse. And
what was the thinking?
My thinking was to A, get experience, B, get exposure, 3, strengthen my application.
Okay.
4, get advice from the other dentists there who have been there, done that, and they'll be able to assist me. That was
okay.
So I then worked for quite a renowned dentist in the UK, actually. Yeah. And it was a really good experience because I got a bit of general dentistry experience. There was also an oral surgeon who would come in, so I also worked when he would come in. It was really, really good, really, really inspiring. But even then, when some of the nurses realized that I was going to apply for dentistry, which they knew, but when I started getting interviews, which I'll go into later, jealousy started to creep in. My boss at the time, just little things about me. And then my boss sat me down and said, he's heard this, he's heard that. And my boss said to me, Kevin, how the heck do you think you can be a dentist if you can't even have the ability to think? That's what he told me. Yeah. Once again, tried to mess my confidence and all the rest of it. All because people saw that I was trying hard to try and further myself, whatever you call it. And people wanted, I would be one of the first people to be at the practice, last people to leave.
Yeah.
But even then, him being as renowned as he is to tell me that I don't have the ability to think, he doesn't think I'll be a good dentist, doesn't think I'll even get in.
Yeah.
That was a big blow for me.
How long had you been working as a dental nurse?
1 year. So
1 year.
Between after graduating from my first degree,
yes,
between going to my starting dentistry wasn't that year. Yeah. But yeah, it's in that year where I applied, and so I got into your university, Arnold, UCLan.
Yes, and the best dental university in the country. We might not be on the rankings, but we know. Tell me about the application process. So you choosing the universities. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so my preference at the time was to get into the 4-year courses at the time, graduate entry courses, because for financial reasons, at the time you'd only had to pay for the first year for the course, and then the NHS will pay your rest of your tuition fees, and they will also support you every month. So I was grateful for that. So those are my two. So Peninsula and Pukla were my top 2 choices.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the application, I also applied for Newcastle and Liverpool.
Oh, so yeah, Liverpool
and Newcastle. But there were 5 years.
4 years?
5 years. 5 years. They were backups. So those were the 2 Liverpool and Newcastle were backups.
Okay.
So yeah, for this time, I was able to really get insight, prepare my application, and about 3 of the dentists really looked through it and really helped me and really kind of guided. And because
from the dental practice you're working at?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So not the boss necessarily, but the associates, because I would work with the associates. So I built a good relationship, built a good rapport with them, and I was able to kind of show me. And because I was training as a dental nurse and I was going on the course, actually training, I also understood dentistry much more. So my terminology in my application came across much stronger. And because I knew academically, I got the grades, I was even more confident.
I just want to stop there for a moment, because when you don't have aunties, uncles, mum, dad as dentists, you're at a disadvantage, because you don't know how dentists think, you don't know the lingo, the terminology. And I like what you did. You literally dumped yourself into the dental world, and you were able to soak up all that you needed to soak up and make connections with dentists to support you in your application. And I think that's one thing that a lot of aspiring dentists don't realize, that if you don't have the connections, you have to find a way to get those connections. And I like what you did there.
Yeah, 100%. I remember even applying for the dental nurse role. I said that I think those days you could either email or write letters or send letters. I sent to about 30 practices.
Wow.
Straight up. Yeah, I was persistent, and I think if anyone's gonna get anything out of this, is that no matter the objections or obstructions that you see, there's always a way. But you're gonna work hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, a call came to cancel it. Yeah. So you got to be consistent. You got to work hard. You got to stay focused. But for me, it was a long and tough journey. I went through so many hurdles that, and I even went through more hurdles, which I can talk about later. But yeah, for me to finally get in was like, couldn't believe it, because I'm a young guy from South London who was in a gang, who had all of this around, and thank God that I didn't have a criminal record, because you've got to also pass all of those.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
Check your criminal records.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So not that I was a hard criminal or anything like that, but I was around a lot of what was happening. It doesn't take much for things to be on the downturn for you. So
let's quickly go through the process of receiving offers. Who did you receive offers from, and then what was the interview process like? Let's go through that.
Cool. So when I applied, I got an interview for UCLan and Peninsula.
Yeah.
So UCLan, remember when you go there, they show you around, and then I think it was a panel interview. Panel interview. There was 2 guys that interviewed, and I was so grateful to get an interview. You know when they say, you can go to Accrington, Blackpool, I said, listen, I'll go anywhere.
Wherever you want me.
yeah, and the interview for the most part worked quite well. And I remember the interview that also what happened was that being, where I'm from, how am I going to show that I've got good manual dexterity? Like, really? Come on, a guy from wait, I don't do paper mache, I don't play the piano, I don't play the guitar, I don't do any of these things. So how am I going to do it? So the only way I was able to do it was I then went on a wood carving course. I went on a wood carving course, and on this wood carving course now, I remember when I went there, there was all of these old age pensioners that was there, and I was the youngest guy that was there, and they're like, oh, why are you here? And they're like, I'm trying to get skills. I want to be a dentist and all that stuff. And some of the class I did attend, because it was like this oak wood and this pine wood and this wood, and it was. I wanted to know that by the time my interview is there, I'm able to have something to show at the interview. So when it came, so I actually carved the flower. I don't know what it's probably.
No. I'm saying, do you still carve wood now?
No. So it was crazy because I was working. That day I remember doing 9 to 6, and then I would have to, as a nurse, and then I would have to go there for I think 3 hours, or 2 hours, 7 to 9. And I remember the day of the exam, they kind of had all these woods on the table. I didn't turn up because that was my sole purpose for being there was to create this flower or whatever. But you know what? It was really good. I got a lot out of it. And then when it came to my interview, I was able to bring that and say, look, this is what I've done. I'm into blah 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 and all the rest of it. But I was so desperate to be a dentist. That's all I saw. I didn't see myself doing anything else. It was strong passion, strong desire to do that. And that's what kind of kept me and pushed me. So yeah, so when I went to UCLan at the time, it was a panel interview, and there was one guy there was an anatomy guy you have there, a guy that does anatomy, probably.
Dr. Andrew Gitty, it would have been him.
Yeah. And I remember they were hitting me, and I had one question, and I thought I was finished. He said, oh, you do materials, right? I said, you did materials? I said, yeah. And he goes, what material could you use in dentistry that a patient can have issues with? And my mind was like, and I remember that all the other questions, I was calculated. I was, had everything kind of planned. But when you hit me with that, and I think with these kind of things, what they do, they kind of, when they see your interview is quite strong, they kind of push you, maybe to a point of failure, maybe. Yeah, how far you can go, exactly. How far you can go. So what I did was, then they said, sorry, I'm thinking about something else. Yeah, and then I said, to be honest, I was saying, and he goes, no. I said, he said, what did he say? He said, nickel allergy. I was like, nickel allergy is the reason why you could. I was like, okay, cool. And he had another question, I think. He said, we talked about amalgam fillings. And then he said, what other sources of mercury could you have? And I think, and I didn't know, and he said fish. And I thought I'd flunked. I thought I was done. I thought I was finished. And I think the class size is quite small there. It's like 32, isn't it? 35, 32, yeah. And I thought, and had these guys who had brought all of these, one guy brought his guitar, he was going to do like some guitar kind of like a rendition there. Some guy who had worked in the dental lab brought some dental models here. I was thinking, yo, like, I was done. And then Peninsula, so fortunately, the one guy who had met at the interview at UCLan, he thought he had messed up as well because he was playing the guitar, but he got it wrong because he was so nervous. So I dropped him home. I think I drove him home. Yeah, I think we drove home. Yeah.
Long drive.
Long drive, exactly. I'll never forget. And he had gone to the Peninsula interview before me. So he went and he kind of told me, Kev, you know, this is the situation, this is the structure. And with Peninsula at the time, you go and answer like a crib sheet of questions about topical issues in dentistry, kind of things. And then then they read a scenario, like an ethical scenario. And there were 4 people there. And there were 2 people which I think were academic stuff, but there was also a priest there. I think, what is he doing here? But there was a priest there, and the reason for that is that from a patient point of view, they wanted to know if they think I had the qualities of being a dentist from a patient point of view. That's right. So they did ethical questions, and to be honest, that worked fairly well. But it was a family friend, like a cousin, that kind of encouraged me to apply, go there, and I think the reason why, and then so that happened, and I didn't get an offer from Liverpool or Newcastle, but I wasn't too worried about that because it was longer. It was 5 years, plus you had to forfeit all the fees yourself.
Okay.
So me being a person who had come from a degree before, who already incurred loans and stuff like that, I wanted to try and minimize that as much as possible. So I wasn't too worried. I got my offers for both unions on the same day. It was Saturday.
How many? So that 2 years since A levels that you started dentistry.
No, it was this time 4 years, right?
So from A levels, you spent 1 year doing your
3 years.
No, 3 years doing degree,
and then 1 year doing dental nursing.
Wow, 4 years.
Yes, and you can almost see that as like I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
I want to ask you one thing. So you come across as quite a confident speaker. Is that always the case? Because that's something that people struggle with interviews, being confident in terms of answering questions. Is that something that you were naturally good at, or is that something that you had to work on?
I think because I served in my church. So my church, I run the youth. I used to at the time run the youth department.
Okay.
So it was a youth church, and I would often speak. I would often preach. I'm a speaker. So at that time I'll preach.
So you'd give messages.
Yeah, give messages. Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes I give it to hundreds. My church, about 500-600 people.
Wow.
Sometimes I'll speak in the young people service, and sometimes speak in the adult service, and also speak at other churches as well, to different type of people, different age groups. So that built the confidence, you know.
I'll have to get you to come over to my church and speak sometime.
100%. All yours, bro. COVID-19 over. Cool. I'm all yours.
Yeah. Okay. So that built your confidence in terms of
built my confidence, and for me, I think, and looking back, and even I can even tell you, even when the things I went through some issues again later, but what I could tell you is that that I didn't want, the key thing I didn't know was my learning style.
Okay.
You know, what was my learning style? And I can kind of magnify or can talk more about that, because I discovered it during dental school, and that changed things around for me. At A level, be organized, because you're balancing the step up from GCSE to A level. You're balancing that. You're balancing getting your extracurricular activities and through application to look good. You're balancing UKCAT, and you're balancing voluntary stuff and all of that. You know, you're balancing all these kind of things, and that's what is a struggle. It's not that you're not clever enough.
Yeah.
Balancing that, you have to be organized. Number one.
So would you say
Number
Kevin
two,
wasn't organized at that stage?
yeah,
Okay.
I was no. Number one. Number two, which I'll kind of tap into later, is understand the topics, understand. And if you don't understand it, get help, extra tuition, do what it takes to kind of do what you need to do to do well. So I would say that. I would say work really hard. And also, and the thing is, to be honest, because at that time wasn't exposed, I didn't have the information what's available now. You don't know yourself. You don't know how to present yourself. And that's a skill. Because in the interview, before I went into my interview, I bought my suit from Primark, by the way. And I said, look, I'm in this Primark suit. But how I wear the suit and how I rock the suit. And I said, this 20 minutes can change my life forever. If I can be able to present myself or come across in a certain way within 20 minutes, my life has changed. It doesn't matter how you are as a person, but it's how you present yourself.
Yeah.
And that's so how you present yourself during your personal statement, you have to present yourself in a certain way. How you present yourself is how you present yourself in this world, how people are going to receive you or take you.
Yeah.
If you don't present yourself as confident, then they're going to take you as confident and they'll have confidence in you. If I translate to dentistry, you got to be able to be confident in what you're providing for your patients.
Yeah.
If you don't have the confidence, because which I'll talk about later, shortly after qualifying, I worked for a private practice. I had to build confidence in Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Where they have the tennis and all of that, and excuse me to say, you're a young black guy, you're Wimbledon, you're from Thorney, all you know is Thorney. You're like, okay, I'm treating solicitors, I'm treating consultants, and I'll talk about that, but you have to. It's either sink or swim.
Yeah.
So A level, I would say, if I was doing it now, get as much information as possible. Use YouTube. Read, see what people have done. People have and connect. Now social media, follow dentists that you know, and bother them. See, someone like me, if I want to learn something from someone who's ahead of me, I take them out to lunch.
Okay.
I take them out and I take to a nice, if I can afford it, a nice restaurant. Because when I do that, the information comes out.
Guys, you can find me at Lancashire Smiles. Message me. You can take me out.
But yeah, so that's Kevin at A level. Then we say Kevin as a dental.
Kevin as a dental student.
Persistence. And
why was persistence key for Kevin as a dental student?
The tricky thing about dental school is that you're assessed academically, but you're also assessed on how good you are with your hands.
Yeah.
And every dental student experience, which was difficult, is the fact that if you're doing what we call in uni competency, or if you're doing a practical assessment, you have to get it right at that assessment. Yeah. If your preps after that are not doing so good, you work that out. But at the time when you're doing, and you must be able to handle acute pressure.
Yeah.
Studying for an exam 3 months away, you know your exam was going to be in May, June, and July. You can study from day one. But to be able to handle acute pressure and deliver at the point where you're expected to is a whole different ball game.
That's dentistry.
Yeah, exactly. But it's different when you've been training, different when you got confidence. And if you're growing in confidence stuff, it's different. When you got someone who's looking over you and assessing you. And for the very much so, sorry to say, dentistry is also a very subjective course as well. How a person kind of sees and perceives you, how a tutor, it's not like a thing like, oh, you got 10 out of 10. Or, it's very subjective. And they can, all sorts of things coming out of that. So persistence is key. Academically, clinically, assess where you're weak at and put in the work in. Because for me, I knew if I didn't pass this, I'm going back to the ghetto. So for me, there's no other choice. I didn't have a dad business that was running where I can be part of. I didn't have none of that.
Yeah.
I had nothing to back on. I knew this was my only ticket out.
Sink or swim. Okay.
Sink or swim.
You talked about learning, your learning style. Now that's a really big thing. It actually came up in the last episode. So tell me about how you figured out your learning style.
So doing a first, everything up to my first degree, everyone knows you revise for the exam and then you forget about it. And that's all you look at past papers, you work it out, and then you make it out from there. But one thing I struggled with one thing Peninsula are good at, something called spiral learning, where they will touch on one point in the first year, then revisit it the second year, but in a greater depth and stuff like that, and that can increase your understanding. And for example, we started, Peninsula is quite good in clinical exposure, or very early first year. So we learned to give injections or local anesthetic in the first year. Now, in order to do that, you must understand your nerve anatomy. So for you to place your injection correctly. Now, if you're learning that year one, you can't learn and forget that. You need to learn and understand that and keep that, because I do that every single day of my life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was an example where you have to know and understand your what you're doing. And the thing is about Peninsula is that whenever you do exams, right, they'll have a board where they'll have a place where everyone will go, and they will rank you.
Wow.
And now and in our year group there was 60 of us there, and I always came 38, 36, 32. So I was calling the second portion of the year. I always came around that. And I think how, and I remember when I was living with some of my friends who were also in the course, the day before an exam, they go to the gym. I'm like, what? They're taking breaks. My room is everywhere. I'm thinking, I'm gonna crack this thing. But I realized, and these guys were top of the class.
Yeah.
There's one particular guy who was always top 1 or top 2. But this guy will be he was organized. He was thinking how, but I'm like, killing myself. I'm thinking I still wasn't getting the output. So I realized I wasn't doing something right. But then in the exams that we had, one thing I realized was the power of understanding.
Okay.
When you can understand the fundamentals of a topic, no matter if you forget certain aspects, because you understand the core or the crux of it, you can always get around it.
Yeah.
So I learned to understand, not just memorizing. There's things you have to memorize, fair enough. But when you understand something, you can always work your way around it.
So would you say that your learning technique up to this point had always been to memorize rather than truly understand? How do you know that you truly understand?
Because if they ask you a question on it, if they ask you a question even from different angles, you can still give an answer or solution.
Okay.
And the issue of problem solving. So, for example, if you understand, let's say, calculus, integration, if you understand the principles of calculus, if they put any equation in front of you, you're able to work it out.
Okay.
So...
I'm trying to think from the perspective of a dental student watching this, and they want to know, do I truly understand what I'm doing? what advice would you give to that?
Now, for example, if you understand, if I use the example of local anesthetic technique, if you understand what a particular nerve does, it's where it's coming from, where it's going to. If you understand that, then you can understand the importance of it when you're placing an injection.
Okay.
You're not just learning it because there's elements where you do have to learn it, kind of that. But if you understand what it is, then you know that your look, and that itself will improve your technique, as opposed to just understand it and see, okay, this way it goes, and you know, and that's it. And even now, I realize that you must be able to understand, and this comes with time, but you must be able to understand, because some people are visual learners. Some people are, they like to listen. Some people, they write everything out and they rewrite it, used to do. But then, for example, with me, I'm not a person that likes to take notes. I'm a person, when I'm in the moment, the person delivering a lecture, thank God that my lectures were recorded. So my lectures are recorded, I can go over it again. But I want to first grapple what I can on the foundational level. Then revisit it, and strengthen my knowledge on the topic. But you must also be perceptive enough to know what you're strong at and what you're not so strong at. And it's okay, because once you can identify what you're not so strong at, then you can work on that.
That's it.
Does that make?
That's it.
So I was reading stuff and I was learning something the other day because I'm studying for some exam, and I was reading it. I was saying that, okay, then I've understood this again, but I need to revisit it again and deepen my understanding. But I know there's a element where I've got to be able to have my knowledge, but also display my knowledge. So, for example, always know this: when you're doing an exam, this goes for A-level students and dental students alike. When you're doing an exam, but if it's written or whatever, always have an understanding that what you have to demonstrate to the examiner is how much you know of the topic. Also, what you have to also manage is also working under pressure. It's just not about blurting what's on the page, but presenting the information in a way that is easy to understand, that demonstrates to the person that's reading it that you can understand the topic. That's all you're doing. But you have to do the fashion. That's what an exam is about. But what I didn't understand at the time was that I thought it was always just revision. And when I get it, but it's presenting it in such a way and breaking it down, or presenting information in such a way in a systematic format under a time constraint with the pressure attached.
I agree with this, because I think you can fall into the trap of memorizing, and even memorizing stock answers. And when you memorize stock answers, you can't answer the nuances of how the question comes at you. I agree with that.
100%. So if I know a part of the exam is understanding the material. Part of the exam is able to present the information. Just because you understand it doesn't mean you can present it well. And part of the exam is also be able to deliver under the, because for example, if they give you a question, if you had a day to answer it, you're going to answer it 10 out of 10. You're going to answer in 15 minutes. That's what you got to do. Another thing is that also, if you're a person that you know you work well with people, like learning in the team, and some people are like that, do that, you know. For me, and this is a personal testimony, when I say they rank you, when I was able to understand the topics and identify my learning style, and also I'm a person, I can go to the library late. So, for example, I will go do my clinics in the day, come back, eat, rest, recharge, watch a show or whatever. Then I can go to the library and work. Okay, that's how I I knew I was. So I also understand my peak time of learning.
Yeah.
Able to identify my learning style.
Yes.
I then realized that when they ranked me, I was always top 10.
Wow. So from being middle to being top 10.
The highest point of which was 8th.
Nice.